Imagine standing at the edge of a forgotten road as darkness slowly swallows the landscape around you. The wind carries whispers from ruins abandoned long ago, and every shadow seems to hold a secret waiting to be discovered. Throughout human history, certain places have gained a reputation so terrifying that entire generations avoided them. Some were linked to unexplained deaths, others became famous because of strange sightings, mysterious disappearances, or legends passed down through the centuries. These are the places where history and folklore merged into something much larger than either one alone. Across different culture, languages, and continents, the stories of cursed locations have fascinated humanity for thousands of years. Ancient kings feared them, travelers avoided them, local communities shared warnings about them. Yet, despite the fear, people continued to visit these locations in search of answers. Are these places truly cursed, or are they simply locations where tragedy, mystery, and imagination combine to create the legends that refuse to die? Before we explore these mysterious destinations, we must first ask a simple question: what exactly is a curse? The answer depends on whom you ask. To some people, a curse is a supernatural force capable of bringing misfortune, illness, or the death. To others, it is a cultural story created to explain events that seems impossible to understand. And throughout history, curses have appeared in nearly every civilization, from ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia to medieval Europe and Asia. So thousands of years ago, people lived in a world where science could not explain many natural disasters, diseases, or sudden tragedies. When crops failed, cities collapsed, or rulers died unexpectedly, communities often searched for spiritual explanations. Curses became powerful narratives that helped people make sense of suffering. Ancient inscriptions warned grave robbers about divine punishment. Religious texts described consequences for breaking sacred laws. Over time, these warnings evolved into stories that spread across the generations. Today, modern society continues to be fascinated by the curses. Movies, books, documentaries, and online discussions keep these legends alive. Some people believe curses contain truths beyond scientific understanding. Others view them as fascinating examples of folklore and human psychology. Regardless of perspective, cursed places continue to capture our imagination because they exist at the intersection of history, belief, mystery, and fear. Understanding that connection helps us better understand the stories we are about to explore. Imagine hearing that three unrelated tragedies occurred in the same building over several decades. Most people would immediately begin searching for a connection. This instinct is deeply rooted in human psychology. Our brains are designed to recognize patterns because pattern recognition helped our ancestors survive. When early humans noticed connections between events, they were better prepared to avoid danger. However, this simple and the same ability can sometimes lead us to see patterns even when none actually exist. This tendency helps explain why stories about cursed places spread so easily. When unusual events happen repeatedly in one location, people naturally look for an explanation. If the explanation is dramatic, emotional, and memorable, it becomes even more powerful. Over time, stories grow with each retelling. New details are added, old details become exaggerated. Eventually, a local legend can transform into a global mystery. Folklore plays another important role. Every culture has stories that teach lessons, preserve traditions, or explain historical events. These stories often survive because they connect communities through shared experiences, whether completely factual or partly fictional. They become part of cultural identity. Social storytelling ensures that such legends continue across generations. Grandparents tell stories to grandchildren. Travelers share experiences. Writers document local myths. Today, social media spreads these stories faster than ever before. The result is a fascinating blend of history, psychology, and a culture that keeps cursed places alive in our collective imagination, even centuries after the original events occurred. Deep within the canals of Xochimilco near Mexico City lies one of the world's most unsettling locations. At first glance, the island appears ordinary, but as visitors approach, they notice something disturbing hanging from the trees. Hundreds of dolls stare back with the cracked faces, missing limbs, faded eyes, and weathered expressions frozen in the time. The sight is so unsettling that many visitors describe feeling uneasy before they even step onto the island. Visitors often report strange experiences. Some claim the dolls move when no wind is present. Others say they hear whispers or footsteps when nobody else is nearby. Paranormal investigators have visited repeatedly searching for the evidence of supernatural activity. Yet, despite countless stories, no definitive proof has ever been found. Skeptics suggest that isolation, expectation, and the airy appearance of the dolls naturally influence people's perceptions. The environment itself creates a powerful psychological effect. Nevertheless, the island continues to attract thousands of curious visitors each year. Whether one believes in spirits or not, the Island of the Dolls demonstrates how a tragic story combined with a striking visual landscape can create one of the most enduring and haunting legends in the modern history. In the heart of Transylvania lies a forest surrounded by mystery and speculation known as Hoia forest. This location has earned a reputation as one of the most paranormal places in the Europe. Locals have shared strange stories for the generations, describing unusual lights, unexplained sounds, mysterious disappearances, and encounters that defy easy explanation. The forest gained international attention when photographs appeared to show strange glowing objects hovering among the trees. Some visitors reported feeling watched. Others claimed electronic devices malfunctioned unexpectedly. A few described experiencing missing time where hours seemed to disappear without explanation. Such reports led many researchers and paranormal enthusiasts to compare Hoya Bashua to the famous Bermuda Triangle. Despite the debates, Hoya Bashua remains an intriguing destination because it combines folklore, natural beauty, and mystery in a single location. The twisted trees and dense vegetation creates an atmosphere that feels otherworldly even during daylight hours. As darkness falls, Imagination fills the gaps left by the uncertainty. So perhaps the true mystery of Hoia is not whether supernatural forces exist there, but why places like this continue to inspire such powerful emotions. The forest to remind us that humans are naturally drawn to mysteries that challenge our understanding of the world. Sometimes the unanswered questions are more fascinating than the answers themselves. As the sun begins to set over the rugged hills of Rajasthan, the ruins of Bhangarh Fort cast long shadows across the landscape. During daylight hours, tourists wander through its ancient gates, admire its architecture, and listen to the stories that have made this location one of India's most famous haunted places. But when evening approaches, the atmosphere changes. Local legends say that no one should remain inside after dark. Whether fact or folklore, hunger has become synonymous with the mystery. Historians, however, offer different explanations. They point out to political instability, invasions, environmental challenges, and economic decline as more likely reasons for the city's downfall. Such explanations are supported by historical evidences, yet they have not diminished the power of the legend. Today, visitors arrive seeking both history and mystery. Some reports strange feelings, unusual sounds, or an overwhelming sense of unease. Others experience nothing unusual at all. This differences in the experiences fuels ongoing debate between believers and the skeptics. Regardless of one's viewpoint, Vanguard Fort serves as a fascinating example of how history and the folklore can become inseparable. Its ruined walls stand not only as reminders of a vanished kingdom, but also a proof of humanity's enduring fascination with stories that challenge the boundary between reality and the imagination. At the base of Japan's majestic Mount Fuji lies Aokigahara Forest, a place known for its extraordinary natural beauty and its complex reputation. Dense forest and the trees cover the landscape so completely that outside sounds are often absorbed, creating an unusual silence that visitors immediately notice. Walking through the forest can feel like entering another world, one separated from the noise and distractions of the modern life. For centuries, local folklore associated with the forest with spirits and legends. Stories passed through generations described supernatural encounters and the mysterious presences among the trees. Over time, these tales became woven into Japanese cultural traditions, helping establish Aokigahara's reputation as a place of mystery. Many visitors who explore the forest describe a peaceful atmosphere rather than a frightening one. They speak about the beauty of nature, the quiet reflection it encourages, and the opportunity to disconnect from everyday stress. These experiences highlight another side of Aokigahara, often overlooked by sensational stories. The forest teaches us that places can carry multiple meanings simultaneously. They can be associated with folklore, history, personal reflection, and the social challenges all at the once. Rather than focusing only on the fear, Aokigahara invite us to think about empathy, understanding, and the value of supporting those who may be struggling. In that sense, its most important lesson may be one of humanity rather than the mystery. Beneath the bustling streets of Paris lies a hidden world few people ever see. Stretching for miles beneath the city is a levee labyrinth of tunnels known as the Catacombs of Paris. Within these underground passages rest the remains of millions of individuals carefully arranged along walls that seemed to stretch endlessly into the darkness. For many visitors, descending into the catacombs feels less like entering a historical site and more like stepping into another area. Unlike many cursed places, the fear associated with the catacombs comes primarily from reality rather than the legend. The knowledge that millions of people rest beneath your feat creates a profound emotional response. Endless tunnels, dim lighting, and overwhelming silence combines to create an atmosphere unlike any other. Yet the catacombs are also a powerful reminder of human history. Every skull and bone represents a life once lived, a story once told, and a person who experienced joy, struggles, and dreams. In this way, the catacombs transform fears into reflection. They encourage visitors to think not only about mortality but also about the humanity's shared journey through the time. Hidden within the Venetian lagoon lies a small island that has become the subject of countless ghost stories and urban legends, known as Poveglia Island. This isolated location has a history marked by disease, suffering, and abandonment. For many people, it is considered one of the most haunted places in the world. As generations have passed, stories began to emerge about restless spirits wandering the island. Visitors reported hearing voices, seeing shadowy figures, or experiencing unexplained sensations. Paranormal investigators frequently cite Poveglia as one of Europe's most active supernatural locations. Today, Poveglia remains largely abandoned, adding to its eerie atmosphere. Empty buildings stand as silent witnesses to the events that unfolded there. The absence of everyday life makes it easy for imagination to fill the silence with the stories. Whether haunted or not, Poveglia Island serves as a powerful reminder of humanity's struggles against the disease and hardship. The island's reputation may be built on legends, but its history is very real. Understanding that history helps us appreciate why certain places continue to inspire fascination, fear, and reflection long after the original events have passed. In Philadelphia stands a prison unlike any other. Eastern State Penitentiary was designed with a revolutionary idea. Isolation could reform criminals. Prisoners spent long periods alone, separated from the society and often from each other. What began as a bold social experiment eventually became one of the most controversial prison systems in the history. Over the years, countless stories of paranormal activity have emerged from the prison. Visitors and staff members have reported hearing footsteps in empty hallways, seeing shadowy figures, and experiencing sudden temperature ranges. Such reports helped establish Eastern State's reputation as one of America's most haunted locations. When visitors explore the prison, they are confronted with the questions about justice, punishment, and human behavior. The building itself becomes a symbol of both ambition and unintended consequences. Its haunting atmosphere may be influenced as much by historical knowledge as by any supernatural explanation. Eastern State Penitentiary reminds us that some of the world's most unsettling places become frightening not because of legends, but because they reveal uncomfortable truths about human decisions and their consequences. Sometimes history itself can feel more haunting than any ghost story ever told. Rising above the green countryside of Ireland stands a fortress whose history is filled with the conflict, betrayal, and the mystery. Leap Castle has earned a reputation as one of the most haunted castles in the world, attracting paranormal investigators, historians, and curious travelers from across the globe. Yet, what makes this castle truly fascinating is not merely the ghost stories, it is a real history hidden within its ancient stone walls. As centuries have passed, tales of strange apparitions, mysterious sounds, and supernatural encounters became part of Leap Castle's identity. Visitors claimed to see shadowy figures moving through the hallways. Others reported sudden feelings of fear or unease without any obvious cause. Paranormal enthusiasts frequently point to these experiences as evidence that the castle remains haunted. Whether one believes in the ghosts or not, Leap Castle demonstrates how real historical violence can become intertwined with the legend. The castle stands as a reminder that human conflict often leaves lasting marks on both places and the memories. Its reputation continues to grow because it combines documented history, unexplained experiences, and centuries of storytelling into one unforgettable mystery. Perched dramatically on a rocky hill in the Romania, Bran Castle is one of the most recognizable castles in the world. Its towering walls, narrow passageways, and imposing silhouette have inspired countless stories, earning it a place among the world's most mysterious locations. Yet the castle's fame comes largely from a connection that is both powerful and controversial: the legend of Dracula. Historically, however, the story is more complicated. While the real-life ruler Vlad the Impaler may have inspired aspects of Dracula's character, historians debate the extent of his connection to the Bran castle itself. The reality is often less dramatic than the legend, but no less fascinating. This contrast between history and fiction highlights an important truth about the cursed and haunted places. Sometimes the stories surrounding a location become more famous than the events that actually occurred there. Fiction shapes perception, and the perception influences experience. Bran Castle reminds us that legends possess extraordinary power even when historical evidence challenges popular beliefs. Stories continue to survive because they capture something deeper: our fascination with the mystery, darkness, and the unknown. The castle stands as proof that imagination can transform an ordinary historical site into a global icon. Deep within Egypt's desert landscape lies one of the most important archaeological sites in the human history, the Valley of the Kings. For centuries, this sacred burial ground remained hidden beneath the sands, protecting the tombs of powerful pharaohs. Among them was the tomb of Tutankhamun, whose discovery would ignite one of history's most famous curse legends. Headlines around the world warned of supernatural Wangan's stories spread rapidly, transforming archaeological discovery into international mystery. The idea of curse fascinated the public because it combined ancient power, forbidden knowledge, and unexplained tragedy. The Valley of the Kings demonstrates how quickly history can become legend. The site itself represents one of humanity's greatest achievements, preserving knowledge of an ancient civilization that continues to inspire awe in their today. Yet many people remember it primarily because of the cursed story. Perhaps this is because the curse symbolizes something larger than a supernatural warning. It reflects humanity's fascination with ancient mysteries and our tendency to seek meaning in extraordinary events. Even after a century of investigation, the curse of the pharaohs remains one of history's most enduring legends. After exploring 10 of the world's most infamous cursed locations, an important question emerges: which one deserves the title of the most frightening? The answer depends largely on how we define fear. For some people, fear comes from supernatural legends. For others, it comes from real historical tragedies. The most terrifying places often combines the both. Poveglia Islands draws power from its tragic history. The eastern state Penitentiary reveals the psychological consequences of isolation. Leaf Castle combines documented violence with centuries of ghost stories. Brand Castle demonstrates the enduring influence of folklore. The Valley of the Kings merges archaeological wonder with one of the history's greatest cursed legends. Each location generates fear differently. Some rely on the atmosphere, others rely on the history. A few rely on the stories passed down through generations. Interestingly, the places that affect people most deeply are often those where real events and the legends overlap. Ultimately, the ranking these places is less important than understanding why they continue to capture our imagination. Their enduring appeal reveals something profound about the human nature. We are drawn to mystery because it challenges our understanding of the world and encourages us to ask questions that may never be fully answered. As we compare these legendary locations, certain patterns begin to emerge. Although each place has its own unique history and cultural background, many share remarkably similar characteristics. Understanding these patterns helps explain why some locations become associated with curses while others do not. The second factor is isolation. Many cursed locations are physically separated from everyday life. Islands, forests, deserts, castles, and abandoned buildings create environments where imagination thrives. Isolation amplifies uncertainty, making ordinary events feel unusual or even supernatural. A third factor is the mystery. Cursed places often contain unanswered questions. Missing information leaves room for speculation, and the speculation encourages the storytelling. When facts are incomplete, legends naturally emerge to fill the gaps. Finally, cursed places often reflect deeper human fears: fear of death, fear of isolation, fear of punishment, fear of the unknown. These universal emotions help explain why similar legends appear across different cultures and historical periods. By recognizing these patterns, we begin to understand that cursed places may reveal more about humanity than about the supernatural. They act as mirrors reflecting our anxieties, beliefs, and desire to make sense of difficult experiences. In many ways, the greatest mystery is not the curse itself, but why humans continue to be fascinated by such stories thousands of years after they first emerged. For centuries, people have attempted to explain mysterious events through legends, curses, and supernatural forces. Yet, as science advanced, researchers began investigating many of the phenomena associated with the haunted and accursed locations. What they discovered was fascinating. In many cases, experiences once considered paranormal could be unlike linked to the natural causes that influence human perception in unexpected ways. Another explanation involves environmental conditions. Certain locations contain unusual magnetic fields, toxic gases, or low oxygen levels that can affect perception and decision making. In enclosed spaces such as ancient tombs or underground tunnels, these factors may contribute to dizziness, hallucinations, or the confusion. A person experiencing such symptoms might interpret them as evidences of supernatural activity. However, science does not always provide complete answers. Some reported experiences remain difficult to explain fully. This uncertainty keeps the debate alive between believers and the skeptics. Perhaps the most important lesson is that curiosity should never be replaced by the assumptions. Scientific investigation encourages us to ask the questions, gather evidence, and remain open minded. While scientists seek natural explanations, paranormal investigators approach these mysterious locations from a different perspective. Armed with the cameras, audio recorders, thermal imaging equipment, and environmental sensors, they attempt to document evidences of phenomena that cannot easily be explained through conventional science. Temperature fluctuations are another commonly reported phenomenon. Visitors frequently describe sudden cold spots that appear without an obvious source. Some investigators interpret these changes as signs of paranormal activity, while critics argue that environmental conditions can easily account for them. The challenge facing paranormal investigators is consistency. Experiences are often subjective and difficult to reproduce under controlled conditions. What one person interprets as evidence, another may view as coincidence. This disagreement has fueled decades of the debate. Despite criticism, paranormal investigations remain popular because they reflect humanity's desire to explore the unknown. The possibility that there are aspects of reality not yet understood continues to inspire curiosity and fascination. Whether these investigations reveal genuine mysteries or simply highlight the complexity of human perception, they remind us that unanswered questions still exist. One of the biggest controversies surrounding cursed and haunted places is whether modern ghost hunters are uncovering mysteries or creating them. Critics argue that many paranormal investigations contribute more to entertainment than to the genuine research. Television programs, documentaries, and online content often emphasize dramatic moments because audiences are naturally drawn to suspense and the mystery. Supporters of paranormal investigation disagree. They argue that many reports come from independent witness with no connection to the media production. When similar experiences are reported by different people over long periods of time, they believe those reports deserve serious consideration. Dismissing every unexplained event, they argue, is just as unscientific as blindly accepting every calm. Interestingly, this debate has existed for centuries. Long before modern television, travelers, writers, and local communities shared stories about the haunted places. Today's ghost hunters may simply be continuing a tradition that began generations ago. The controversy reminds us that critical thinking and curiosity should work together. By balancing skepticism with open mindedness. We can explore mysteries without losing sight of evidence and the reason. Imagine a remote castle receiving only a few visitors each year, then imagine is that same castle becoming famous after being labeled one of the world's most haunted places. Suddenly, tourists arrive from around the globe, hotels benefit, local businesses grow, media attention increases, but an important question emerges. Does tourism help preserve history or does it sometimes distort it? Many cursed places have become major tourist attractions. Locations such as Brand Castle, Bhangarh Fort, and the Island of Dolls attract thousands of visitors annually. Their mysterious reputations generate economic opportunities for local communities while also preserving sites that might otherwise be forgotten. Supporters of tourism offer a different viewpoint. They argue that legends are part of cultural heritage and deserve to be preserved alongside historical facts. Without these stories, many people might never learn about these locations at all. In this sense, tourism helps keep history alive by generating interest and funding conservation efforts. The challenge is ensuring that visitors leave with both fascination and knowledge. A haunted castle can be appreciated as a mysterious legend while also being understood as an important historical landmark. Across every continent, cultures preserve stories about mysterious places, supernatural warnings, and legendary curses. These narratives are often passed from generation to the generation, becoming woven into local identity. But should curses be viewed merely as superstition, or are they valuable parts of cultural heritage that deserve the preservation? Supporters of cultural preservation argue that legends serve important social functions. They teach lessons, preserve historical memories, and connect communities with their past. Critics, however, worry that emphasizing curses can sometimes obscure historical reality. They argue that complex events may be reduced to simplistic supernatural explanations. Yet history shows that folklore and factual history often coexist. Many ancient traditions blend documented events with symbolic storytelling. Consider the value of the kings. The curse of the pharaohs may not be supported by scientific evidences, but the legend reflects public fascination with ancient Egypt. Perhaps curses are not important because they are true or false. Perhaps they matter because they reveal something timeless about humanity's need to find meaning in the mysterious that surround us. As our journey through the world's most famous cursed places continues, it is important to hear the voices of skeptics. Skeptics are not necessarily people who reject mysterious outright. Instead, they are individuals who ask difficult questions and seek evidences before accepting extraordinary claims. Their role is essential because history has shown that many mysteries eventually find explanations through careful investigation and the critical thinking. Another common question concerns consistency. Why do some visitors report terrifying encounters while others experience nothing unusual at all? If a curse exists, Should its effects not be predictable? This inconsistency often leads skeptics to suggest that personal expectations and psychological influences play a significant role. Yet, skepticism is not about destroying the wonder. In fact, it can deepen our appreciation for mysteries by encouraging careful investigation rather than blind acceptance. Skeptics remind us that history contains countless examples of phenomena once considered supernatural that later received natural explanations. While skeptics seek evidences, believers often ask a different set of questions. They wonder why stories of haunted places, mysterious encounters, and unexplained experiences appear across different cultures and throughout history. Believers point out how many reports share striking similarities. Visitors to different haunted locations often describe feelings of being watched, sudden temperature changes, strange sounds, and unexplained emotional reactions. Even when people have never heard previous stories about a place, some claim to report comparable experiences. Many believers argue that not everything can be explained through current scientific knowledge. History contains numerous examples where accepted understanding changed dramatically as new discoveries emerged. Personal experiences often play a powerful role in shaping belief. For someone who has witnessed something they genuinely cannot explain, at the same time, responsible believers acknowledge the importance of evidence and investigation. Ultimately, believers remind us that mystery has always been part of the human experience. Whether their interpretations prove correct or not, their curiosity reflects a deeply human desire to understand realities that may extend beyond our current knowledge and perception. After exploring the haunted castles, forgotten islands, mysterious forests, ancient tombs, and abandoned prisons, a remarkable realization begins to emerge. The greatest value of cursed places may not lie in proving or disproving supernatural claims. Instead, these locations offer powerful lessons about the history, humanity, and the consequences of our actions. These places also teaches us the importance of preserving heritage. Without historical sites, future generations would lose valuable connections to the past. Whether a location is famous because of architecture, archaeology, folklore, or mystery, preserving it ensures that important stories continue to be remembered. Cursed places also encourage humility. They remind us that history is complex and that many questions remain unanswered. Rather than assuming we know everything, these locations invite exploration and the learning. In the end, the true power of cursed places lies not in the fear but in the understanding. They encourage us to learn from history, respect cultural heritage, and appreciate the stories that shape our collective identity. Every legend contains a lesson waiting to be discovered. As we reflect on the world's most famous cursed places, it becomes clear that the most fascinating mystery may not be hidden within abandoned castles, ancient tombs, or dark forests. Instead, the greatest mystery may be humanity itself. Humans are the storytellers. We seek meaning in uncertainty. We transform experiences into the lessons and memories into the legends. Through stories, we preserve knowledge, express emotions, and connect with one another across the time. Even when details change, the underlying human desire to understand the unknown remains constant. This perspective transforms fear into appreciation. Rather than viewing cursed places solely as sources of danger. We can see them as reflections of culture, creativity, and the history. The mysteries explored throughout this journey reveal our hopes, fears, beliefs, and curiosity. They remind us that uncertainty is not something to fear, but something to explore thoughtfully and respectfully. Perhaps the greatest lesson is that mystery itself has value. Not every question requires an immediate answer. Some mysteries inspire learning, exploration, and the wonder. And in a world increasingly filled with information, wonder remains one of the humanity's most precious gifts. Our journey through the world's most famous cursed places is approaching its conclusion. Along the way, we have traveled across the continents and the centuries. We have explored forgotten islands, mysteries, forests, ancient burial grounds, haunted castles, abandoned prisons, and legendary ruins. Each location offered its own unique story, yet together they reveal something much larger than individual legends. Now take a moment to reflect which place fascinated you the most. Was it the airy island of the dolls with its silent observers hanging from the trees? The mysterious Hoia forest where unexplained stories continue to emerge? The ancient valley of the kings and its legendary curse? Regardless of personal beliefs, these places encourage us to think deeply about the relationship between history and the storytelling. They remind us that every location contains layers of meaning shaped by those who lived there before us. Most importantly, this journey reminds us to approach mysteries with both curiosity and the respect. Curiosity encourages exploration and learning. To everyone who has joined this exploration, thank you. Your curiosity keeps the history alive. Your questions inspire deeper understanding, and your willingness to explore different perspectives helps create meaningful conversations about the world around us. As the final chapter of our journey unfolds, imagine standing alone beneath a night sky filled with the stars. Around you lies the ruins of forgotten kingdoms, silent forests, abandoned islands, ancient tombs, and castles that have witnessed centuries of the human history. Each place appears mysterious from a distance, yet beneath every legend lies a deeper truth. Every cursed place was once someone's home. Every haunted castle once echoed with laughter, celebration, ambition, and the dreams. Every abandoned settlement once housed families who hoped for a better future. Every ancient tomb was built by people seeking to honor those they loved and respected. Over time, history transformed into the memory, memory transformed into the stories, and the stories transformed into legends. That process is what gives cursed places their extraordinary power. They remind us that behind every mystery are real people, those whose lives shape the world we inherit today. Whether curses exist as supernatural forces or symbolic warnings may never be fully resolved. Yet the debate itself reflects something beautiful about the human nature. We continue asking questions, we continue exploring, we continue seeking the meaning, and perhaps that is the real mystery. Not the ghost in the castle, not the whisper in the forest, not the curse in the tomb, but humanity's endless determination to understand the unknown. As our journey ends, remember this: every cursed place is ultimately a story, and every story, no matter how mysterious, deserves to be remembered. The legends may endure, but so do the lessons hidden within them. Thank you for joining this extraordinary exploration.